Hello, and welcome to the start screen for my game Brimming Sea. At this point, Brimming Sea is a working title, but I like it because I think it sort of suggests this adventuresome spirit and the open world full of opportunity that I'm trying to create in this game. So that open world is this ocean, dotted with islands. The one we're closest to is this kind of autumnal poplar forest, but other islands have their own sort of unique vegetation and geography. So over here there's a volcano. Not a lot going on, probably not super interesting. This seems to be a flatter island with some trees on it, and here's another island, similar vegetation to this one, but slightly more eccentric terrain. And then here's an island which I think will be interesting to visit, so I'm going to focus this demo on making it to that island from this one. So to do that, I have to go over here, and here are my troops, which I use in this game. Similar to kind of a standard RTS, you can click to select them, and then you can click and make them move around or perform actions in the world. So the first thing I'm going to do is try to establish a food supply and some shelter for these guys. So looking around, I want to do it on some higher terrain. I think I'm going to go with this plot right here. So the first thing I've got to do is get them up there somehow, or create a path for them, because this cliff is not something that they can climb on their own. So I'm going to go into my building tool here, and I'm going to place blocks which will form a stairway for them. Currently, those blocks are just a plan that I've put down. They're sort of translucent, and they have no effect on the physics. I can just have the characters walk right through them. But if I right-click, he'll pull out a hammer, and he'll start going to work creating that structure. So now he's capable of getting up onto the top of this little bluff here. So I think I'm also going to have him take this tree down. So if I right-click there, he takes out his axe, and he cuts down the tree. So this looks like a perfect little spot to start my little empire here. So I'm going to put a few more troops on the bluff, and then I'm going to put a farm down. So to do that, I click the little farm icon here, and then I drag out the placement. So to get characters to actually farm, I select one, and then I right-click the farm itself, and they go to work planting seeds, and then they'll continue to work as the plants grow, and then they'll harvest the eventually mature plants, and that'll be a food resource that I can use. And cutting down trees also gives me wood resources. So beyond this little farm, I guess we have to have some walls to keep them safe. So to do that, I'll go back to my building tool, and I'll just place a little ring of blocks around like that. I'm going to make sure that crenellations will fit on there. Let's do... that's probably going to be okay. So the farm will be kind of off to one side here. We'll do one more block on that side. Perfect. I can assign troops to work on this structure as I'm in the process of designing it. They build bottom to top, so as long as I keep adding blocks to the top, they'll build them seamlessly as though they were kind of always there. So I can just continue adding to this structure. It occurs to me now that I should put a door in. So I'm going to show off the ability of, to order characters to excavate blocks. So I'll have him move over here, and then I'll take my excavation tool out and select a spot for a door. So I can select him, click there, he gets his little mining hat and a pickaxe, and he swings it, and there we've got a new door. And that same technique can be used for removing other blocks in the world, like if you want to mine, or if you want to take the terrain and modify it in some way so that you can place your own structure. That's how you do it. And I'm going to tell these guys to keep building. They've given up since they ran out of tasks. So this should provide enough defense so that the troops here on this island can stay safe as I move over to that other island. I'm going to finish the structure by creating this kind of top balcony area. And I'm also going to build some stairs up to it in just a moment. Place that. The idea here is that you can create your design as it's being built, and that allows you to be flexible and make mistakes without ruining your whole experience. So I'm going to have him take out those blocks. Perfect. And then I'm going to design some stairs leading up into this structure like that. Those should be built bottom to top, so I'm going to have this character do that. Perfect. So now this balcony is accessible from the ground, and I think that that's about all I have to do on this island. So I'm going to have this guy start chopping some trees down, and then this character I'm going to take over to the shore. So I think one of the, or probably the most interesting thing about this game is the fact that everything that you've seen done so far in the game, including harvesting these little plants here and replanting, can be done in first person as well as third person. So if I decide that I want to cut down these trees myself, I can just select this character, double click him, and now I am occupying his body, and I can do everything that he's capable of doing. So currently I've got this little axe in my hand, and I can take some swings at this tree, and eventually it'll fall down just as it did when he was working on it, and then it disappears, and that's why I can get the wood resource. So laborious tasks like that aren't super interesting, which is why I think it's nice to be able to delegate them in third person to other characters. But if you were inclined to farm, then you could go and be a little farmer, and you can hit the plants and the plants grow. But I'm going to put him back to work on his own. So here on the other side of the island, I'm going to use some of those wood resources to build a boat. So clicking there, I can get sort of a transparent imaginary boat, and then I can tell him to go ahead and build a boat right there, and he'll hit it with his hammer, and there it is, and I can tell him to get in and sail around. I think that I'll only send one character over to that island. But in the meantime, I'm going to first figure out where I put him. Over here? Yes. So I'm going to just right-click the ocean kind of over there, and he'll be on his way over to somewhere near that island. And then I'm going to demonstrate some other capabilities of the first-person system. So this character currently has a hammer equipped for building, so I can click and he can build structures. This can be nice if you want to throw up sort of a quick shelter and you don't want to worry about going through the design process. Eventually the design process will be integrated more with the resource system, and characters will have to sort of collect stone blocks to build with, and so it'll be less feasible to just do it yourself. And then there's also the added benefit of you don't actually have to figure out how to move the character to wherever you want to place blocks. They figure that out themselves. So if I want to remove, say, a level from this structure, I can go to my excavation tool and I can have him do the excavating, or I can double click and I can do the excavating myself and swing my pickaxe. So what I'm trying to go for is kind of getting both the classic real-time strategy game experience of controlling troops in third person and making high-level strategic decisions, but also being able to kind of enjoy on a much lower level the society that you're creating in this game. I always thought it would be cool if you had an RTS where when you build something or create an army or a castle, you could sort of feel what it would be like to be one of your troops living in that environment, instead of just only being able to see it from this really sort of faraway bird's eye view. So I want a game where you can experience both the strategy and the kind of excitement of being on the ground. So I'm going to go check on the progress of our sailor. I can just barely make him out in the distance there. So I cut forward in time a little bit so that we don't have to wait through this guy's entire journey here, but I can click on him and actually occupy the boat. So now I'm going to sail into this island. My concern is that hiding amongst these trees are some enemies. So I think right here is an enemy character. Right there, you can see him, he's wandering around. So I'm going to try and find a place to land that's safe and far away from any obvious threats. This little slope here looks good, so I'm just going to beach my ship. Try to get it to stop. There we go. And I'm going to have this guy hop out. And I'm going to try to get him to go and attack this character right over here. So here he's got his armor on and he's got his sword and his helmet, and now they're going to go and have a fight. And I'm going to go into first person and really experience this. This is combat in Brimming Sea, which can be done like everything else in both third person and first person. I should soon have this creature vanquished. Ooh. Awesome. So this little area seems to be clear of enemies. Unfortunately, the visibility isn't super great on this island because of these trees, but I will try to stay alive. My goal is to begin building on this island and use it to get more resources and spread to other islands, and that's kind of how the game goes. You build, conquer, sail, fight, and try to expand your power and influence across this ocean. Let's see if we can get a view of the island we came from. I think it's over on the other side, and I'm also kind of watching my back here for those blue guys. All of the objects that you see in the world, which aren't part of the terrain, are generated in a program which is a graphical user interface, very easy to use. There's the island we came from, called this software is called Cube Studio, and it lets you build these sort of cube models. You can do animated characters with little outfits like I've done here. So all the content, the clouds, I've all generated by hand that way, and then the terrain is done procedurally. And then those models which I created are put into the world so that the terrain can be sort of populated with these little static items and trees and different things like that. So that is the demo that I have for today. Obviously, I have every intention of adding more features and continuing with development. But I'd love to hear any feedback, what you think is interesting about the demo, both in terms of what parts of the game seem interesting and what parts of the demo were more or less effective than others. I want to kind of hear people's thoughts about how the game could be A, improved, and B, packaged and marketed well, because I want to sort of communicate to people why I think this is an exciting thing and why people should care. So thank you very much for watching, and I will be back soon with more updates about this game, and I look forward to hearing back.